All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are cracking open the playbook of a company that, let's be honest, kind of came out of nowhere to become an absolute monster in e-commerce, Pinduoduo. We're going to look at the handful of brilliant, maybe even ruthless decisions that took them from a startup in 2015 to a global giant. So let's just kick things off with a number that's, well, it's pretty staggering. $15.21 billion. And get this, that's not their yearly revenue. That was for a single quarter in late 2023 for their parent company, PDD. This isn't just good growth. No, this is the kind of number that makes an entire industry stop and ask, what is going on here?
Okay, so making a ton of money is one thing, but what's really mind-blowing is how profitable they are. Look at this. The average e-commerce company, right? They're happy if they keep 10, maybe 20 cents of profit for every dollar they make. PDD, they're keeping 27 cents. That is just, it's an efficiency machine. They're not just playing the game, they're playing it on a whole different level.
So this all begs the big question, right? The one we're here to unpack. How in the world does a company that didn't even exist until 2015 pull this off? How do they show up and just dominate? Well, it wasn't one thing. It really boils down to three absolutely critical, game-changing decisions. All right, let's dive into that first big decision. This is the one that really flipped the entire e-commerce world on its head when it came to getting new customers. It's what they call the social playbook. So the idea itself, it's beautifully simple. See, most e-commerce sites, they sit there and wait for you to come to them, right? You search for something, you click a link. PDD said, forget that. They went to where people already were, on social media, especially WeChat. They basically built the store inside the group chat, getting people to team up with their friends on team purchases to get these crazy good deals. And why did this work so well? Well, for a few huge reasons. First, it made shopping a fun thing you discover with friends, not a chore you have to search for. But the real genius? It turned every single one of their customers into a free salesperson. I mean, think about it. You're literally recruiting your friends to save money. This created a viral marketing army that let them reach deep into parts of the country where regular ads just didn't work. And look at the result of that strategy. This right here tells the whole story. To get one new customer, it cost Pinduoduo about $2. Two! Their big rivals, they were spending $30, sometimes more, for the same thing. That's not just a little advantage, that's a superpower. That cost difference is literally what bankrolled their entire takeover. Okay, so they figured out how to get millions of users for super cheap. But now for the next big question. How do you get them to stay? How do you make your app a daily habit? Well, Pinduoduo's answer was their second master stroke, and it was all about one of the most basic human needs, food. They made this huge bet to become the #1 agricultural platform in China. And we're not just talking about being an online grocery store. No, they wanted to rebuild the whole system from the ground up with a true farm-to-table model. They picked a category that literally everyone buys all the time, and one that they knew was super inefficient and ripe for a shakeup. And the logic here was a total win-win. By cutting out all the middlemen and connecting farmers straight to shoppers, they could offer prices that nobody else could touch. That's a huge win for you, the user. But it was also a huge win for the farmers. They got to keep more of the money, and, this is key, they got direct data about what people wanted to buy. This created this sticky ecosystem that just kept people coming back day after day. Just how big was the impact? Well, look at this number, 5. On average, their model completely cut out 5 different middlemen between the farm and your kitchen. That's 5 layers of people taking a cut, 5 potential points of delay, all just gone, wiped out by a better tech-driven system. So, they've cracked customer acquisition, and they've cracked retention. They're dominating at home. What's the next move when you're on a roll like that? You go global. This brings us to their third massive strategic decision, the one that aimed to make them a household name everywhere. And that's where Temu comes in. You've probably seen the ads, right? The decision was basically to bottle up everything that made Pinduoduo a hit in China. We're talking rock-bottom prices, shipping straight from the factory, and that addictive game-like shopping, and unleash it on the rest of the world. And this was a really smart, calculated move. It gave them a whole new way to make money outside of just China.
It let them plug the world directly into China's massive factory ecosystem. And it was the ultimate test, really. Would their secret sauce, this whole gamified, low price model, actually work with customers in Europe and the US?
So, did it work? Oh yeah, it worked. In less than a year, Temu shot to the top of the App Store charts in more than 40 different countries. The test wasn't just a success, it was a home run. It proved that this model wasn't just a Chinese phenomenon, it had serious global legs. So if you're trying to wrap your head around how this all works together, there's a perfect analogy people use. It's the Costco plus Disney model. Think about it. You get the insane value, the bulk buying feel, and the super efficient supply chain of a Costco. But at the same time, you get the fun, the addictiveness, the what will I discover next feeling of a theme park like Disney. It's that combination that's so powerful.
Which brings us right up to today. I mean, we've seen how they built this absolute titan of a company. But you know how it goes. When you get this big, this fast, you start to get some new and very serious challenges.
Now, don't get me wrong, they are more than ready for a fight. Look at this number. That's almost 60 times billion dollars in cash. That's not just a safety net. That's a war chest. That's an insane amount of money to fuel their global expansion and fight off anyone who comes after their crown. But the battlefield is definitely changing. You've got heavy hitters like Alibaba and even TikTok now basically copying their low-price strategy. And when you're this big, suddenly everyone's watching you, especially regulators, both at home and abroad. The very price war that they started could turn into this massive global slog where everyone's just bleeding money. So that leaves us with a big final question, and this one's really for you to think about. Now that you've seen the playbook, what do you think happens next? Can this Costco plus Disney model keep winning in a world where everyone's trying to copy them? Or have we already witnessed peak Pinduoduo? Is this as good as it gets?